Alright, in the last video we removed the flywheel. Okay, we took it off the taper lock, we've got everything parked, we removed the armature. Today we're going to remove the cylinder head, but before we remove the cylinder head we've got a few more guards and shrouds to remove. Remember, the guards and shrouds direct the cooling air. So we've got a couple little bolts here, an 8 mil and a 10 mil that we are going to pop off here, and we'll put these shrouds in with the other shroud parts. So we'll set them in with the flywheel, park everything back. So once we take this off, we're going to be able to see more fins on the actual engine here, and you can weasel this guy around here. Okay, weasel that guy around, and we'll park all these bolts right back. Mark these guys back, and then we got one more shroud on the bottom. You can start to see the fins here, and the purpose of the fin is to cool the engine. Well, you say, well, how do we cool the engine with a fin? And the key to the fin is it increases the surface area. So we create more surface area, so when there's more surface area, more area of the cylinder and the cylinder head are exposed to air, and the air then cools the engine. Okay, if we had no fins, there wouldn't be that much surface area. So we actually cool the engine by increasing the surface area. That's important to know. So increasing the surface area increases the rate of convection. Now this is usually you're only going to see fins on something that's air cooled. So in your car, if you were to open the hood, you're going to see fins on a radiator and an air conditioning condenser. Those are cooled by air, so convection. So again, here's the other shroud. This is on the bottom here. We got one more bolt on the bottom. Now you can really see that the whole engine, again, we'll take these parts, put them in with our recoil assembly. They're all tidy together. Let's park everything back right away, that way we don't forget where anything goes. And it's pretty straightforward. Now we've got to remove the cylinder head. Now to do this, we are going to need to detorque this. It's got 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go in a diagonal pattern. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to go step 1. Step 1. We're going to go an 1/8 turn. We're just going to crack them loose. Step 2, a 1/4 turn. And then step 3, we can loosen them up. So they're going to be a little tight to break loose. So you're going to struggle a little when it comes to breaking these loose, but don't worry about it. So one guy can hold the block. Now there's one bolt here, one bolt deep in, deep in. These are 10 mil bolts. So I'm going to put it down like this so I can hold the block, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to crack them an 1/8 turn. Crack an 1/8 turn. Crack an 1/8 turn. Crack an 1/8 turn. Crack an 1/8 turn. The reason we do this is we're going to talk about unique characteristics of aluminum engines. All right. If we just pull this bolt straight out, it will indefinitely warp the cylinder head. So we don't want to warp the cylinder head. So now I'm going to go a 1/4 turn, a 1/4 turn, a 1/4 turn, a 1/4 turn. So detorquing is just as important as torquing. Now I'm going to spin these bolts out, and I'm going to take the cylinder head off, but I do not want to hurt the mating surface. So we always want to store this with the surface in between where the gasket is, so the surface of the cylinder head where it meets the cylinder block, we want to keep that facing up. So we don't want to scratch it. Any scratches, then we lose compression. We have to resurface the cylinder head. So pretty soon this guy will come off. And I will tip it over to get the bolts out. I'm going to spin them all the way out. And you will see that you get 2 push rods. Slowly take these push rods out. Set them in your air cleaner. You won't lose them. I'm going to drop these bolts out. And we're going to take the cylinder head. This is the surface we want to keep good. So I'm just going to set that up. We've got a cylinder head gasket. Okay, this one is metal. Sometimes they are fibrous material, sometimes they're metal. We're going to take that gasket, set it to the side for now. And then we've got 2 guide pins. These are going to, / alignment pins, are going to align where the cylinder head goes. So if we don't have them, right, then the cylinder head will be crooked. We'll lose compression. All these bolts should be the same size. And must have just spun one out here, rolled off the bench. Well, we're going to park all our bolts back into our cylinder head. And then, oops, we got one more here. I'm going to pull this one out here. And then we'll move on to disassembling the cylinder head. So when you're done, all our bolts are here. And we can now see the piston traveling up and down inside of the cylinder.